Well, welcome back, everybody. Hope everybody's doing fantastic tonight.
What's going on, everyone?
It's the big extravaganza we've got going on tonight. 6 movies.
Well,
Well,
five and a
five.
quarter.
Well, yeah, five and a third. We'll call it a third. As you can see by the lovely background, my co-host right there is sporting. We got a real winner on the show tonight.
Oh yeah, can't wait to talk about that one.
So, Steven, go over what the movies are in case people missed the social media posts.
All right, we had 6 movies, 3 of which Heavy picked for me, 3 of which I picked for Heavy. The 3 Heavy picked for me were 31, What Lies Beneath, and The Velocipaster. I'll say that last one again, The Velocipaster. The 3 I picked for Heavy were Snowpiercer, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and The Nice Guys.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy has not finished The Nice Guys. He's about 35 minutes in. So we may briefly touch on it to see what his first impressions are, but we probably won't really talk about that one. So it's going to end up being 5 movies.
Yeah.
Because I hold up my end of the bargain.
Well, to be fair, I was extremely busy today. So, didn't really get a chance to knock that one out. However, I will say this. The first, I don't know, how far into it am I? Let's see. I've got it right here. 42 minutes in, right? 42 minutes into the movie, and I can tell you this, it's worth a watch because so far it has been hilarious. Like how this flew under my radar for so long. Because first of all, I'm a huge fan of Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
You know, most of what he's ever done, I'm an undeniable fan of. So, you know, I don't know how it got away from me though.
To me, it's one of the funniest fucking movies.
Well, not only that, but dude, there's a nice set of titties within the first minute and a half of the movie.
Yeah, like the first 5, literally the opening scene of the movie is tits.
Yeah, there's boobs in it.
You can't go wrong.
No, Misty Mountains.
Misty Mountain. That's a great name.
That's a great name.
I think I met a stripper one time with a similar name.
Yeah, more than likely.
It was Patricia Peaks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was pretty nice.
Oh, Patty Peaks.
So, which movie should we talk about first?
I say we go ahead and get it out of the way.
Which one is that?
And do Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
So started out with a bang, huh?
Yep.
All right.
And just to give you an idea of where I stand with this movie, I think I'm going to go ahead and reverse track and go ahead and give this one a 3.
Okay.
And the reason, right? Because it's mostly about the reason of the movie. For the vast majority of the movie, I was waiting for Kill Bill, for Planet Terror, for some of Pulp Fiction. I was waiting on that, and it didn't come till the last 10 minutes. Now, with that being said, if you're gonna do an hour and a half of fucking, you better blow a pretty big load.
Right.
And the last 10 minutes of that movie that was the antithesis of a Quentin Tarantino movie. I just wish it had more of that throughout the movie. The Bruce Lee scene was good. I thought the scene at the ranch where he punched that guy in the face and then punched him again and told him to fix it and then punched him again in front of all those girls. That was great. Classic Tarantino. But I don't know, man. I wasn't a fan. I was not a fan. This is literally the first Quentin Tarantino movie that I would put less than a 4 on.
Okay. And
I think the only one that I would even come close to putting a under a 4 on would probably be Reservoir Dogs. But Reservoir Dogs again is a really good movie.
See, I'm in a little bit of a different boat. I enjoyed the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I the first time I watched it, I didn't really like it that much. Like I thought it was good, but I was like, this was kind of lackluster. But watching it again, I really liked it. That being said, if you're putting it like within the last couple of movies he's done, it's probably more towards the bottom.
Yeah.
Like Django Unchained is a better movie. Inglorious Bastards is a better movie. Hateful Eight is a better movie.
Oh my God. Hateful Eight is such a good movie, dude.
Yeah, way underrated.
Yeah.
But those movies are better. But I think this one is good for what he was trying to do. And I think basically what he was trying to do was essentially what he did in Inglorious Bastards. And that's what we talked about a little bit earlier, where he takes some portion of history and essentially fantasizes it and rights a wrong. Yeah. Right? So in Inglorious Bastards, Hitler gets killed. You know, they trap him in a fucking theater, shoot him up, and it's like this big moment, right? It's just like the sense of gratification.
Yeah.
But on this one, it's the murder of Sharon Tate. She doesn't get murdered. Instead, the Manson cronies, they get fucked up.
They go to the wrong house, first of all.
Yeah, they get fucked up in a ridiculous way. Like I'm talking a pit bull that tears them limb from limb and a flamethrower.
Yeah.
So like it's good. Like when that happens, it's intense.
Dude, there is something about the fight scene at the end between him and Brad Pitt and the girl.
Yeah.
Right? Where he's smashing her head on literally everything. Like, that is the most realistic, graphic violence I've seen in a movie in a while. And it was fucking amazing.
I mean, it's rough.
Yeah.
But I also enjoyed, to me, this movie reminded me a lot of Pulp Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first hour and 50 minutes of it.
Yeah.
It's very Pulp Fiction-y.
Yeah.
Like a lot of stuff happens, but nothing really happens.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you get to the end, you realize that it was all setting up to that.
Yeah.
It was just doing it in a very almost subversive way. Like, you know, I didn't go into the movie knowing anything about it. So I didn't know it was about Sharon Tate murders. And then I see that Sharon Tate's in it, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be somehow about
Manson family related.
Right. And then, but the way they did it, it was very subversive. But I thought like DiCaprio and Brad Pitt, they were both great in the fucking movie. The scene with Leonardo DiCaprio and that kid, that like young girl actress, when he's reading the book or whatever. And like, that was a great fucking scene. Or when they do the, where he's trying to, like he's acting in that movie.
Yeah.
And they do that whole unbroken scene. Like, it's got some great stuff in it. It's just, as like a cohesive film, if it wasn't for that last 10 minutes, it just wouldn't work. So, I mean, you're basically hinging your entire film on the finale.
On 10 minutes.
Yeah, which to me, the payoff was worth it. I enjoyed the film. I'd probably give it like a 3.5 to a 4.
Okay.
Because like I said, I enjoyed it. Like I enjoyed it a lot more the second time because I knew what to expect. And so I was able to, instead of wondering what like the destination was going to be, I was just able to enjoy it. Like,
and see, that was my thing. Like, I automatically knew when they said Roman Polanski because his name came up before Sharon Tate's did.
Right.
So when they said Polanski, I was like, okay, it's in, there's hippies. It's in California. It's got Roman Polanski. It's got Sharon Tate. This is about the Manson family. And then they take you out to the ranch and you see all of the stuff going on. So like, I kind of knew where it was going. I honestly wished that they had shown the Sharon Tate, Roman Polanski side of it.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest with you, I wish they had taken it there. I'm glad that they did put together such an epic scene at the end, right? But I'm also kind of I look at it like this. I don't think there was any fat. I think you need everything in that movie to kind of carry the movie. But 2.5 hours, man, that's a long, long movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a way that they could have made that an hour and a half movie, but it's just not Tarantino. Like, he's not going to do that.
No, absolutely not.
This is the same guy that had a scene in Hateful Eight that was like 15 minutes of just setting fucking wood posts, walking it out to the outpost. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, I get it. Like, that's his thing. And it works in some movies, but it's just, and I thought, like I said, I liked this movie, but it's just, it's towards the bottom of, say, the last 4 movies that he's released.
Okay, so you gave it what we'll call yours a 4.
Yeah,
I'll say a 3. So a collective 3.5.
7.
Oh, that's right. We're doing out of 10. See?
I don't know what kind of math you just did.
Well, it's that new math. So
if you take the square root
of
the x variable
274 and you multiply it by 3 and then divide 7, it's a 2.
Oh yeah.
So
and then you add 1.
I've got this new book. I had to buy a planner because I forget shit all the time, and I need a calendar that I can write shit in, because if I write it, I won't forget it. But it came with these handy dandy little inserts. So we can start writing down what we give stuff. And then we can go through at the end of the year, and we can go through our review book.
You heard it here, folks. I don't know why I couldn't say the word folks just then.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think I just had a mini stroke, possibly. So we'll give Once Upon a Time in Hollywood gets a 7 on the new 2 Guys in a Trailer scale. So I guess we'll go to one of my movies that you picked for me next.
Okay.
To even it out. And since you started with a bang, I'll start with a bang. 31.
Okay. Let's do this. Rob Zombie.
Right. So this is a Rob Zombie horror movie. Horror. And it's good. To me. For me, it was good. Now, spoiler alert, I don't like horror movies.
Yeah.
I don't.
That's why I gave it to you.
The reason I don't like horror movies is pretty simple, really. I don't understand the point.
Okay.
Like, first of all, I'm not like a supernatural guy. I don't believe in any of that shit.
Okay, so
really immediately if a movie has supernatural shit in it, I'm just like, well, okay, like, but it doesn't scare me because it's like, well, that's bullshit. So that immediately narrows down about 50% of horror movies for me. And then you have the horror movies like this one that I think the point or the purpose of the film is to essentially shock you, right? Like to like show you something that shocks you.
Mm-hmm.
Which
I don't know about shocks. I think this is more like a slasher gore kind of movie is where you would put that category.
Right, but for me, like, what's the point of the gore other than to shock? Like, I don't.
Well, yeah,
like, it's not scary.
Yeah, and I get it. The thing that kind of draws me into scary movies, horror movies, right? Like Jason, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, the Halloween movies, right? I don't know what it is that allows my brain to suspend reality and be like, yeah, they just hit that dude in the face with a hatchet and he's still coming after him.
Yeah.
Like that in no planet on the fucking in the known galaxy would that ever work. Like unless your brain was in your asshole.
Right.
You know? But it's like dude comes at you with a fucking machete sticking out of his face, but something in my brain will allow me to disbelieve it. Now, the scary movies that I prefer, right? And I'm like you, the paranormal stuff, I can still suspend disbelief. Like the Paranormal Activity movies, those have that kind of Blair Witch, found footage type feel.
Yeah.
I can get down with those because you don't ever see a monster, right? Or like The Exorcism of Emily Rose. If you took the score out of that movie and just had it with no soundtrack behind it, it wouldn't be nearly as creepy as it is, right?
Right.
But what the horror movies that I really like are the ones that you could see actually happening. House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, 31. Like, that's 3 Rob Zombie films. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? You know Texas better than anybody I know. I mean, there's plenty of places in Texas where you could drive 3 miles, 3 hours into the state and not see anything, other than a busted down ass gas station. And go in there, you could very well end up in somebody's fucking basement, getting your goddamn head, your face lopped off. Yeah. So that's what I like about horror movies is like, not that it does exist, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre was based on actual serial killers. Devil's Rejects had actual serial killers that he modeled each one of the characters after. So it's a lot of that, and it's just like you said, it's the shock value. But 31 I thought was really good. I don't think it's a great movie. I was never expecting you to say it was good, to be honest with you. I was never even expecting you to say what you just said about it.
Well, so my other point I was going to make was when it comes to the shock value, and I think maybe it could just be me. I'm extremely desensitized, like, towards that kind of stuff, because when I was growing up and like when I hit high school, live leaks was a thing, right? I'm a freshman. I'm 15 years old, and I can go online, or I'm getting shown a video where some dude getting his head cut off, and it's for real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I've been desensitized to the like extreme violence and the like, if I wanted to see something like that, I can see something equally bad or worse in real life. So that takes it doesn't affect me in that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, yeah, I can watch something like Hostel and the fucking eyeball scene. Yeah, it's gross, but like, it doesn't fucking scare me. It doesn't elicit that response to me. It's just like, all right, it's gross.
Yeah.
So it doesn't do anything for me. The reason I liked this one was because it clearly didn't take itself seriously. Like, you had a midget Nazi dude speaking Spanish chasing a bitch down with a knife. Like, all right, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But that's also one of the downfalls of the movie for me, is that the tone is so all over the place. Like, when it started out, the opening scene is like a serious fucking scene, and it's good. The opening scene is great. It's the best part of the movie. I wouldn't say
good. I would say great.
Yeah, like, it's the best part of the movie for me. Hands down. I don't think the rest of the movie ever lives up to that opening scene. For me.
I would say the one scene that I could put in there with that also involves that same guy where he's putting his makeup on. It's a continuation of that scene later in the movie where he's putting his makeup on and he rubs that brush on his tongue, and then he looks at himself in the mirror and puts some water in his hair and just starts punching himself in the fucking nose.
Yeah.
Right? That's intense, dude. That is intense. You know he's going out to fucking kill somebody.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, it was good. I wouldn't call it a great movie. I'll probably never watch it again. But I wasn't miserable watching it. Like, I enjoyed probably the majority of it. There were certain scenes that like again, even after watching it, I don't know what the point of the movie was. Like, I don't.
That's what I love about Rob Zombie movies. There is no point.
Yeah, like, it's literally like, I'm going to show you some fucked up shit with some fucked up dialogue, and that's the movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, fine, do your thing. But for me, it's like, if you're going to make a movie like that, you've really got to fucking push the envelope. to
Yeah.
elicit that response from me. Like, you have to show me something that's going to fuck me up, because I could turn on a Serbian film, right?
Yeah.
That's going to elicit more shock value than this movie for probably 99% of people, right? Like, so these, like, it's already, like, this has already been done, and it's been done to a, like, more intense level. So when I see something like this, it's like I enjoyed it. Like I said, like, it was good movie, but I'm just not a huge horror fan, and I guess I'm just not a fan of the genre. I don't know. Like some people don't like fucking comedy. Some people don't like thrillers. Like, I'm not a fan of horror. I never have been.
If you go right, if you look at Rob Zombie's collection, right, he started off with House of a Thousand Corpses, and then did Devil's Rejects, which was the follow-up to that. Then he went into something that had already been done that he wanted to put his twist on, one of his favorite movies in Halloween. And he did Halloween, the remake of Halloween. I think his Halloween is probably one of the best ever made. Then he followed that up with the second version, the Halloween 2, that was a massive turd. Like,
Oh, really?
It from a horror movie standpoint, and from a remake standpoint, it just was not good. Right? It was not good. And he caught a bunch of shit on the internet about it. People on Twitter were losing their fucking minds. And he took a little while off. He came back and did Lords of Salem. Lords of Salem is one of those movies that's like 31, where it's there's no real point. It's not a historical documented fact. There's no basis to think that something like that ever did or could happen. But it's creepy as fuck, because it's kind of the paranormal type deal, right? And then he came back with this one that he's trying to do. He's trying to do a slasher movie the way a slasher movie needs to be done. I mean, I think I nailed it. Is it one of my favorite movies? No. Is it in my top 5 horror movies of all time? No. But is it a good horror movie to watch? Is it a good representation of what the new horror genre should be? I think so.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I can't say that I'm not a fan of the genre. I'm just not a fan of straight horror.
Yeah.
I do enjoy horror if it's like an element of the movie. Like, I thought A Quiet Place was a really good film. I thought, what was that fucking movie? The what was it? The fucking House in the Woods or whatever, the comedy horror they did.
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods. I thought that was great. Like, I like horror when it's an element of the movie. It just, for me, when it's the focus, when it is the movie, I'm not really a huge fan. So
there are a lot of people that love those slasher style movies. Then again, I would say something like Human Centipede, right? Human Centipede was a weird fucking movie that got thrown into the horror genre. And like you just said, it's an element of the movie. It's not the entire movie.
Right.
So
I'd give it a 3.
Huh?
3.
3. Okay.
It gets a 3 from me.
To be honest with you, I was fully expecting at most a 3.5. Right?
Yeah,
like
I'd say it's a 3.
I don't think it's a great movie. I think it's a really good movie if you're a fan of the genre. I think it's definitely worth a watch. Would you say it's worth a watch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I would say, like, if it wasn't for the opening scene, it'd probably be getting a 2. But the opening scene really drew me in.
Yeah.
So for me, that's enough to bump it up a point. So I'll give it a 3. I'd say it's worth a watch. And I think there's a couple streaming sites. I think Vudu has it right now where you can watch it for free. Mm-hmm. So if you want to watch it, I'd say especially if you're a fan of horror and like slasher movies, you're gonna like it.
Yeah. If you're a fan of the genre, I'm a huge fan of the genre of the horror movie genre. So I'm gonna give it a 4, just because I think it's a really good representation of what the new school of horror should be. So collectively, we're going to
give it a 7 again.
A big old 7. Well, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood got a 7.5.
Oh, that's right.
So, now what do we want to move on to next?
Well, there's only really one that you can move on to next because you didn't
Yeah,
finish the third one.
yeah.
Bring that back up.
So you want to do Snowpiercer, or do you want to do What Lies Beneath?
Well, either way, one of us is going to go in a 2 block. So I guess I can do What Lies Beneath real quick because there's not much to talk about.
Yeah.
What Lies Beneath?
Now let me tell you how I picked this movie for you. I was literally going through Netflix, and you texted me, and I stopped and picked up my phone and looked up and was like, "That's what he's watching." So there was zero thought process. It was just what was in the little yellow square when you texted me.
Well, that explains a lot because this movie is a supernatural thriller.
Yeah.
With Harrison Ford
and Michelle Pfeiffer.
It's not that good.
I didn't think it was good either.
Like, it's not that good at all. It tries so hard to make all these twists and turns, and it's like immediately clear what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, about 45 minutes into the movie, I was like, oh, so he fucked the chick and then killed her and threw her in the lake. It's just dumb. It's stupid. The supernatural element pissed me off. The fact that it actually went supernatural, it's cool when it's supernatural, and then they're like, oh, it's not supernatural. Because in Scooby-Doo where they're like, oh, it's a ghost. No, it's just a dude in a mask.
Yeah.
But this movie is like, oh, it's a ghost. No, wait, it's really a fucking ghost.
Yeah.
It's fucking dumb. It's stupid. This movie had a budget of $100 million and it box office $291 million. That makes me angry. I just did not like this movie. It's 2 fucking hours long, and it's just Michelle Pfeiffer going in the bathroom and oh no, the bathtub's filled up with water now. This must be supernatural. And then you see a fucking shadowy face or some shit. It's fucking dumb. It's just dumb. It's not a good movie. I'd give it a 1.5. I give it a half because Michelle Pfeiffer's hot.
Yeah.
It gets a 1.5 for me. Fuck this movie. I'll never watch it again. I'll never recommend it to anybody. And the fact that you recommended it to me made me question our friendship for a minute.
Wow. Okay, so knowing how I came about that movie, does that retract the question about our friendship?
Well, yeah, now that I know it was just, I thought you intentionally, because this coupled with my next movie really made me think that maybe you hate me.
Oh my God. Oh.
Fucking movie's dumb, guys. Don't watch it. Seriously. Harrison Ford is meant to play Indiana Jones and Han fucking Solo. He's not meant to play this. Whatever this is. Who directed this? Robert Zemeckis. You're an idiot. What else did he do? Fucking nothing. He's an American director that's done nothing. That's what his Wikipedia says. Fuck him.
I'm going to give this movie a 2 because it did have a Michelle Pfeiffer nip slip in it. And that's literally the only reason it gets a 2.
Yeah, but is it worth watching for that? No, because we have the internet.
Yeah.
If you want to see Michelle Pfeiffer's nips, you literally just Google it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And you'll
it's not worth sitting through a 2-hour movie that sucks dick.
All right, so that's a collective 3 on that. Or what'd you give it, a 1?
3.5. Okay. I gave it a 1.5 for the Michelle Pfeiffer.
Wow, out of 10, that may be the lowest one this year.
I think so. That movie sucks ass. So let's move on to Snowpiercer.
Yeah. Okay. So Snowpiercer, right?
I think this is where we're gonna have some disagreement.
All right. So, the for those of you who haven't seen it, the plot of Snowpiercer is the government. And first of all, I love how they laid out the backstory in a semi news, like radio news announcement at the beginning. So there's a very clear definition as to what the fuck is going on.
Yep.
So they realize there's climate changes happening and global warming, or the earth is heating to excessive levels. So what do? They send out airplanes full of fucking chemicals. Sound familiar, guys? Sound familiar, right?
The setup of this movie is so good.
Yeah. So they send out airplanes full of chemicals to spray in the sky, which has a dramatic effect on the weather, plummeting the entire Earth into the new ice age. Right? So that's where we're at. The only survivors that are known that they let you know of are on a super train, right? That is on a track around the entire world. This super long track around the entire world, and in each one of the cars is a different, sector of life. Like they have a giant aquarium with a sushi bar in it, and they have a nightclub. They have a sauna car. They have all these other things, all the way back to the end, which is where the peasants are. Right, that's where the undesirables stay at the end of the train. So that's where the movie kind of starts from. And as you move forward, the plot of the movie is there's a revolt brewing, right? The people in the back of the train are getting pissed off at the people in the front of the train, and the people at the back of the train want what the people in the front of the train have, but they're not strong enough. They have self-doubt to get up there and actually do it. And there have been preventative measures by the people in the front of the train to keep the people in the back of the train in the back of the fucking train. So you have your hero, which was what's his fucking name?
Chris Evans, the dude that plays Captain America.
The dude that plays Captain America is the hero in this whole thing. So here's my thoughts on it, right? I know there are some political statements, possibly, the global warming thing, the class inequality thing. None of that was lost on me, right? None of that was lost on me. The elites being in their end of the car, and the peasants being at the back end of the car, that didn't fall on deaf ears. However, where it lost me, right, and this is really where it lost me, they make this push to get up to the front of the train in this. They're leading this revolution, and they get to a train car, and the girl goes, "Don't open that door." And the door opens, and it is stacked, shoulder to shoulder, front to back, of dudes with machetes and axes and shit like that. Now, from the looks of it, how the fuck do they survive back there? And where do they sleep? Do they have bunk beds? Do they just lay on top of each other on the floor? And if so, why did they not join the revolt against the people who have kept them in the middle of that fucking train? You see what I'm saying? That part didn't quite make sense. And I believe there's some sort of military influence, that this is their standing army against any resistance given by the citizens of the train. I get that. Again, another political kind of stance in a movie. Wasn't I wasn't I wasn't upset with it, and it didn't get lost on me. But I didn't like it.
I had a completely different interpretation of the movie.
Okay.
For me, the movie is about the way that society functions,
Yeah.
and that even in like an apocalyptic setting, eventually society functions a certain way. You are going to have the haves, you are going to have the have-nots. That's a given. There's always going to be a separation of classes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the people at the top are the ones pulling the strings. The revolt was planned, and it wasn't planned by the people that did the revolt. It was orchestrated by the guy at the top, right?
Yeah.
He's the one that's given the notes. The reason those guys were there with the machetes and the swords were because they knew they were coming. That's why when they got in that train, that woman said exactly 74% of you are going to die. It was planned.
Yeah.
It was planned to the number, and it goes back to the whole, like the idea of controlling the population, that we find conflicts for multiple reasons, right?
Yeah.
We're always like, you can't just not have war, right? Because then it's just too many fucking mouths to feed. People have to die.
It wasn't really a revolution. It was a manufactured. It was a manufactured revolution.
It was, and it was orchestrated from up top, and to me that's a really interesting idea, and it's the fact that it's an original movie. This isn't a fucking remake. This isn't a fucking sequel. This isn't the Avengers. Like, this was an original movie, an original idea, and to me it was orchestrated really fucking well.
But you know what it was to me? It looked like this whole movie felt like a political statement was being made, right? That if you think about it, and this is what I will give this movie. If you think about the actual movie itself, you have the people at the top shouting out orders at the people at the bottom. The people at the bottom don't like what the people at the top are saying. So the people at the top send little red notes through the fucking food supply, right? So if you think about the people who are sending the red notes as, I don't know, the United States government, right? You got your senators and congressmen who are pushing these agendas and pushing these ideas that we may or may not agree with as a whole. The whole time, the end goal is internal conflict, right? Internal conflict, population control.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. So me being the tinfoil hat guy, I wasn't a huge fan of the movie. However, for the reasons Steven just stated, I'm still going to give it a 4.
Nice.
I'm still going to give it a 4 because it was a political statement of a piece, but it never jammed it down your throat. It was something that you had to figure out on your own.
And that's the thing. I wouldn't even call it a political statement as much as I'd call it maybe like a political observation. Yeah, because it never tells you what's right or what's wrong.
No, there's no statement made.
You know what I'm saying? They never come out and say the guy at the top at the front of the train was wrong. They never say that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and then they also never say the guy at the back of the train was wrong.
Exactly. And so to me, it's just, it's a film to analyze the way society works, right? And then you're left up to make the interpretation of whether or not you think, who's in the right, who's in the wrong, or is it possible that they both have good ideas? Maybe like a dialectical synthesis. You take one idea from one, you take one idea from the other that you think are good, and you create your own set of ideas, right? And in the ending of the movie, where they essentially blow up the fucking train, right? what happens? Essentially, the revolt ends with the top guy dying. So the haves have been overthrown, but every adult in the revolt pretty much is dead, right? All that gets out of the train is the chick and the young boy that he rescued from the engine. So it almost does give you the sense of like the only way to, if you think you need to overthrow something, the only way you're going to do it is with the majority of people dying, and maybe you leave something better behind for the next generation. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
they get out of the train and now it's up to them to make something for themselves. Like, but even then it's like it's going to become the same thing
Well,
eventually.
it's also a piece about repopulation of the world. Like what are the two characters at the end of the movie, the two people that made it out alive? What do they take in their life experience to make better when they get outside and realize that's a fucking polar bear?
Yeah.
There's not supposed to be anything out here.
Yeah.
So maybe these people weren't telling the truth. And maybe these people should have, gone about this a different way. So maybe in this new society, we do things differently.
But I think it's almost the hopelessness of it all is that, for me anyway, when I look at it, it's like it's just going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
Slightly
no matter
different,
what.
slightly different, but the same, right? Because the train essentially, I mean, the end of the fucking world can't change human nature, right? Like, it can't change it because the train ends up being like a country. Like, that train is the way the world operates,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, so the end of the fucking world can't stop that. You can't rewire that.
Yeah.
So to me, like I said, it's just a look at the way humans interact with each other and the way that a society functions. And so I think it's a really interesting movie. I'd give it probably a 4.5.
Okay.
I think it's a really fucking good movie. And it's entertaining. It's paced well. So for me, I think it's a really fucking good movie. I think it flew under the radar. It didn't get a lot of love, but I think it's a really good fucking movie. And it's on Netflix.
I will say the reason I knocked the point off is because for the first 20 minutes of the movie, I distinctly remember going, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? And then as they start moving forward in the train and you see that, oh shit, these people have fucking hydroponic gardens in here. They have soil in here. Like, where did that come from? Yeah.
You've got the people living in luxury.
Yeah.
Right. And then you've got the guys in the back that you find out they're eating cube cockroaches, essentially. Like,
yeah. And then you think about also that you have to take into account that at the end of the movie, the sign of a good movie is that you're going to pull for the underdog just about regardless, right? Just about regardless. There are several movies where I pull for the bad guy just because, sometimes some people just want to see the world burn, in the words of Heath Ledger.
The best Joker.
I don't know about that, but either way it goes, that's a if you want to see our take on the Joker, go back about 3 episodes. You can find it there. But no, at the end of the movie, you want to kill this fucking guy so goddamn bad.
Yeah.
Like, you as a person hate the person at the front of the train, and you never see him until the final scene, the final couple of little scenes at the end of the movie. That's the only time you see the guy. And you have you kind of grow this disdain, and with every car that they go up, you get this fucking feeling in the pit of your stomach that I fucking hate this guy.
Yeah.
So
But at the end of the movie, he's not a fucking evil James Bond villain.
exactly.
He's not. Like, he does some fucked up shit, like kids in the fucking engine working shit like child labor because they're the only ones that'll fit in the small area. Like, he's turned these kids into slaves essentially. Like, obviously that's fucked up, but he's not doing it for the fuck of it. He's not doing it but he gets off on it or some shit. He's doing it because he has to keep the train going, because in his mind, if the train stops, they all die.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, there's a lot of interesting stuff in the movie. It's like, yeah, clearly the guy was wrong. Like, obviously 100%. But what would you do in that situation? Like, that's something you have to ask yourself. Like, if you were in that situation where you're in charge of keeping 1,500 people alive, what kind of sacrifices are you willing to make to keep that going, right? What kind of sacrifices are you willing to make to keep that train moving? So
yeah.
it had a lot of interesting stuff in it, I think.
Well, and it shows in the rating.
Yeah, 8.5.
Score overall was an 8.5. And see, I've kind of led this. Steven and I have this bad habit of Monday morning. We kind of go over some of the stuff for the movies. And I told him I kind of skirted around talking about Snowpiercer because I didn't want him to know what direction I was coming from. But
yeah, I thought you were going to hate it.
Yeah, well, I didn't like it. I didn't as a whole movie. It wasn't my favorite. Will I watch it again? Probably not. But it is a good movie. Right? I have to look at this objectively. If we're gonna say we're gonna talk about movies and we're gonna review these movies and we're gonna give them ratings, and people are gonna go watch these movies based on our ratings, I got to take my personal. It's not really. I don't like to think that much in a movie. That's why I recommended 31, because it's kind of a mindless movie. You just watch people get fucking slaughtered.
Right.
But the fact that the movie did make you think, but it didn't jam an agenda down your throat. That's why I think
really appreciate.
It deserves a 4.
Yeah, you don't see that very much.
Yeah.
Usually if you're thinking in a movie, it's because you're getting something forced down your fucking throat. Like, this is what we're preaching, right? All right, well, the next movie, this shouldn't take long, is The Velocipaster. This is a real film. This film is on Amazon. There's no reason for me to tell you that, because you shouldn't watch it. There's no reason to watch this movie. This movie was made for $35,000, and I would tell the guy that made the movie that he should have taken that $35,000 and spent it on cocaine and hookers rather than waste it on this abomination of a film. This film sucks ass. It's terrible. There's an opening scene where a car explodes, but they couldn't afford the visual effects to have a car explode. So the car is there, and then it does a jump cut, and the car is gone, and it literally says in text across the screen, visual FX, car is on fire. That's the explosion. And I get it that this guy was clearly attempting to make a bad movie and have it be funny because of how bad it is. But that's still a bad movie. Like, I don't understand. Like, usually, like if you talk about a movie like The Room, where it's like a terrible fucking movie, the reason that movie has such a cult following and it's so fucking funny is because the guy that made it didn't know he was making a bad movie. Like, he thought he was making a masterpiece. And then you see it, and it's like, it's hilarious because of how bad it was and how much of a misjudgment it was. But if you just go out to make a stupid fucking movie, like, I don't get, like, what are you doing? What's the point? It's stupid.
But, okay, I get that. But
You can't even say anything. You didn't watch it.
If you think about it like this, right? The guy goes out to make a terrible movie. He fucking succeeded.
Oh, cool. So
am
now
I
when I
wrong?
have sex with a woman, I'm going to say that I'm setting out to disappoint her. Like, it doesn't require any effort. If you set your expectations that low, like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand the point. Like, the movies that are so bad that they're funny are movies that are trying to be good. Like The Wicker Man or like The Room or basically any Nicolas Cage movie in the 2000s.
Except for National Treasure, that was his finest work.
National Treasure is a documentary. I don't count it as a movie.
Oh, okay. What about Gone in 60 Seconds?
Gone in 60 Seconds. Go watch it back. It's not that good. It's not that good. I mean, Angelina Jolie's hot, but
yeah.
I don't get it, man. I don't know why things like this exist. Like, it frustrates me. The best part of this movie is that there's a pretty decent song that played while he's the preacher that turns into a dinosaur, because that's the plot of the movie, is that a priest guy turns into a dinosaur after visiting China. Like, he can turn into a dinosaur and he fights ninjas. That's the movie. And he teams up with a hooker to do the right thing.
The Lord's work.
Kill the bad guys, aka the ninjas, that show up about 45 minutes into the movie for no fucking reason, because it needed ninjas. And the dinosaur, this is not in the movie. That's not in the movie. What's in the movie is a guy in a T-Rex suit. That's what happens. Like, it's not even an animatronic. Like, this is a dude in a suit, and he runs around and he like swings his little tail around, and then like the ninjas fall over, and then he'll like do this motion, and that means he's eating them. And that's the movie. And it fucking sucks. It's just, I'd give it a 0. It gets a 0. It's trash. And I get it. You're trying to make a bad movie. You succeeded, dude. Like, good job.
Well, I'm currently looking at photo because, like Steven said, I didn't watch it. This movie was given to him strictly as a troll, 100% as a troll.
It fucking worked. I was angry.
But I'm looking at the photos, screenshots of the dinosaur killing a ninja, and that's a horrible dinosaur.
Yeah. What did they use the $35,000 for? Was it an actual hooker and they had to pay her? Like, I don't understand. Where did the $35,000 go? Like, I don't get it. That's a $30 dinosaur suit from like fucking Party City. Like,
I wish I could play. I wish I could play this whole trailer, because the trailer is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, like, don't even get me wrong. There were points when I laughed, but it was like I was laughing at how bad it was. So I don't think that's a good thing. Like, I don't think that's something you should aspire to. Like, I'm going to make a movie that's so bad people laugh at how bad it is. It's like, all right. I mean, if that's your fucking goal, do you, man? But I just don't get it. But do you want to quickly touch on The Nice Guys? Well, that sounds weird.
That did not sound good.
Do you quickly want to discuss your first impressions of the film The Nice Guys?
I want to get a solid score for Velocipaster.
I give it a 0.
0?
It's a 0.
Jesus. Okay, I'm going to give it a 1 just because it exists, and I thought it was going to be hard to top What Lies Beneath, but this gets a whopping 1.
Well, your score doesn't even count because you haven't seen it.
It does count because I'm the fucking co-host.
I
of the
would have
show.
given it a 1 before I seen it with like the same basic concept. Like, well, I mean, it's a movie, but then I watched it and I was angry, so I took a point away. I feel like you would have the same thing.
Okay, so you know what?
Velociraptor gets a 0. Don't watch it.
Velocipaster, first of all.
Yeah, Velocipaster.
I'm giving it a half a point. Just
Fine,
because I don't think we can have an actual 0.
Well, yeah, this guy, he really swung for the fences on this one.
Well, I'll tell you this. At some point, I will watch this movie between tomorrow and next week, and we'll see. But as it sits right now, it is a 0.5. By far the lowest scoring movie ever on this channel.
It's trash.
Well, yeah, I would say it probably is.
I appreciate the troll. That was
What do you
very
think
nice
cost?
of you.
What do you think cost more, the graphic for the front of the box, which is that behind you, or the dinosaur suit?
Like, this looks like a good movie, but it's not. So probably that's the $34,000, $35,000 right there. Like, this motherfucker bought XSplit Premium and fucking Final Cut Pro and was like, dude, I'm just gonna make a really good screen. And then I've got this dinosaur costume I had from a fucking birthday party when I was fucking 12. I'm just gonna run around in this shit. And then I've got this hooker friend that's looking for work. Because, yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if she's a real hooker. She's probably not a real hooker, and that was probably offensive to women. But
what do you think they paid the hooker?
Too much.
Really? Even the hooker was a bad actress?
She was terrible.
Wow.
They were all terrible. It was terrible.
Well. All right. So 0.5. That's a pretty stout fucking rating right there.
Bold
Roy,
score.
I want to point something out. Roy French says something. By the way, aloha, Roy. He says, if you was at someone's house and it came on, and he's referring to Snowpiercer, would you stay there and watch it again, or would you say you have to leave? I would definitely watch it again under those circumstances. Unless, of course, I was looking for a reason to leave, in which case I'd say, I'm going to go ahead and run to the house. But yeah, I don't think I'd get up and leave.
So? Nice guys.
Leo said everybody got to work, even unemployed hookers.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like I said, I'm 42 minutes in, and if you had to put me on the spot to give it a score right now, I'm probably going to say, just because of the kid on the bike, that dude gets a 4. Like, all day, that kid gets a 4.
Yeah.
Right? It opened up with titties and a Firebird crashing through somebody's house. And then more titties after the kid goes down there and discovers the chick dead on the rocks. First of all, how the fuck did she get out of the car and land perfectly on the rocks like that? That's what I don't. First of all, where the fuck is a big pile of rocks like that? Just out in the middle of the woods, there's a giant pile of fucking rocks in this beautiful open clearing, you know. But I'd be hard pressed. I'd be hard pressed to say it's going to be less than a 4.
Yeah, I for me the movie's a 4.5.
Okay.
Easy. I want to go 5, but I won't. But it is a 5. But I'm gonna go 4.5.
Why do you want to go 5, but it's not?
Because, I mean, for me, it's a 5. Like, I think it's hilarious. But, I mean, I don't think, like, objectively it's a 5. I think it's probably a 4.5. I'll go 4.5. But, like, if you were like, what would you rate this movie on your scale? 5.
Okay. So let's put this down.
It's one of the funniest fucking movies
I'm
of
gonna
like the last fucking 10 years, 15 years.
I'm gonna go ahead and say 4. Right? Look, what is my dog doing? Bailey, what are you doing? You realize we're doing something here, right? She's like, man, I don't give a fuck what you're doing. Okay, go. God damn, her breath stinks.
Mm.
So I'm gonna say off the rip, we'll go ahead and put it down as an 8.5, right? And we can amend that, and we can also amend Velocipaster. I'm gonna put a star by this one, so we know to come back to it.
The only way that's getting amended is if you decide to change your score to a 0. If you decide to give it anything other than a 0, I don't want to fucking talk about it. Because I do not want to mislead these fucking people.
Yeah.
Do not watch that fucking movie. For the love of God.
D-Bone has a good point. Funnier than How High?
The Nice Guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funnier than Super Troopers?
Yeah.
Really?
You haven't even gotten to all the good parts yet. I'm telling you, that movie is fucking hilarious.
I'm a huge fan of How High, and I'm an even bigger fan of Super Troopers.
You'll be an even bigger fan of The Nice Guys.
I think the Broken Lizard guys are they are the new age Monty Python. That's the way I look at the Broken Lizard guys, the Super Troopers, and Club Dread. Fair. So, all right. Well, anything else you want to? What do you look? We got 23 people watching right now. Let's see. Do you guys want that? Do y'all want to hear another extravaganza like this? More movie talk about more serious movies, or do you want to see just a 2 movie thing or a 1 movie thing?
Yeah, what do you guys want?
What do y'all want to see?
And while you're thinking about it, go ahead and pop over to the 2 Guys in a Trailer Instagram and give that a follow. That way when we decide what we're going to do, you'll fucking know.
Yeah. I say we find out on the spot. Let's see how many participants we have in chat. 1, 2. Wow, we got a whole 4 people in chat. So D-Bone, Justin Jenkins, Roy French, and Leo Berry. Well, I see Stand Up 3D in there too. He must have.
Wow, Stand Up 3D clicked off. Nice.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
There you go, Stand Up. It's a real stand up move.
Yeah. Alternate and mix it up. Oh, Vaping Bachelor's in there. All right, so we got
Extravaganza.
Vaping Bachelor, Vaping Drummer.
I like this tonight, but it's the first show I've watched. Welcome to the madness.
Yep, indeed. Gregory Turner's out
says,
there
fuck
giving us
you.
the finger.
I'm just kidding with you, Jesse. You didn't click off of anything other than these nuts.
Whoa. Hey, you know what? If you're looking for a quality battery holster to mount on the wall, Stand Up 3D has got you taken care of. This little guy right here, super nice. You need a battery for anything? I guess you could put AAA's for your TV remote in there if you needed to. That's what he needs. One of those with a fucking a TV remote.
Ooh.
So okay. Well, it looks like
it tasted like beef.
Really?
Yeah, that's gross.
I thought you ate chicken.
Dude, I haven't eaten today. I don't know why that tasted like anything. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's nice. So why don't we do 3? Collective 3. So 2 and a wild card. You pick one, I'll pick one, and then we'll go. You pick 2, I'll pick 1. Next week, I'll pick 2, you pick 1.
Okay. I like it. I don't have any picks right now, though.
What the fuck, Steven?
I used all my picks last week. Oh, one of my picks will be the Nice Guys.
I'm already. I'm in the backlog right now.
Yeah, one of my picks will be The Nice Guys, and the other one will be The Velocipaster. You can watch both of those fucking movies.
I'm just gonna watch the trailer 2 or 3 times and then come back and say it's a 0. So,
Dude, that's what we should do. We should just watch the trailers and then be like, yeah,
and
that movie sucks.
judge the entire movie based on the trailer.
Yeah, not enough action. 2 stars.
Speaking of trailers, did you see the trailer last night during the game for Black Widow?
I did not.
Scarlett Johansson is not looking too hot in that trailer. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed.
Dude, she used to be so hot.
Dude, I hate to say it, but I am so over fucking comic book movies.
Oh, I am too.
I'm so over it, dude.
Yep.
It's getting old as fuck.
Endgame was the last one for me. I'm done.
I haven't watched.
I think so good.
The last one I watched was the original Avengers. Maybe Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman came out after Avengers, so yeah, Wonder Woman. And the only reason I even watched Wonder Woman is because me and my son went into the wrong movie theater. We were going to see Jurassic World, and we wound up in Wonder Woman. And I was like, "Well, we can go watch that, or we can stay right here." He was like, "Well, hell with it, let's stay right here."
Gal Gadot could get it.
Oh yeah, I was glad we wound up staying. Not that the movie was good, but you know, she's a Amazon lesbian chick, so yeah,
that's kind of my dream.
Well, let's see what they got on Amazon. All right, so that's it. You got anything else, Steven?
I think I'm done, man. It's fun.
All right.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We'll do it again next week.
Yeah, follow the Instagram. We'll put it up Monday, or not Monday. We'll put it up tomorrow. What we're gonna do for next Monday. That's what I was looking for. So we'll do 3 movies. Steven will pick 2. I'll pick 1, and then we'll go from there. Sound good?
Sounds like a fucking plan.
All right. On that note, good night, guys.
Later, guys.